I'm going to be sharing with us on something I captured, crippled by situations. So for those of us who don't know, who don't have the Bible, I'm going to be reading a very important passage in the Bible, and I want us to all read. I actually printed this thing, but I didn't come with it. Luke chapter 13 from verse 10 to 17. This is what I'm going to be teaching us today. Luke chapter 13 from verse 10 to 17. And I'm reading from NIV. Oh, this is loud enough, right? We can hear me. Thank you. And it says, on a Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues. And a woman was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Glory be to God. Indignant, Jesus had healed on the Sabbath. The synagogue ruler said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days and not on the Sabbath." The Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or donkey from the stall and lead it out to give it water?" Verse 16. Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her? When he said this, all his opponents were humiliated, but the people were delighted with all the wonderful things he was doing. May God bless the reading of his word in the name of Jesus Christ. If we follow that story, clearly, this is a story of, for those of us who don't understand what I was reading. And Jesus, that is God, was in the temple. That is just like you're here. And a woman who was bent over by sickness or whatever it is, she was also in that meeting. Jesus heals her. And the Pharisees that Jesus called the hypocrites were questioning, "Why will you heal this person? Maybe this person is not even a Christian. Why is she the one that you healed today, when she doesn't even believe in God, or when she has already, left whatever she believes in?" And that's the story. So like this woman, many of us are bent over spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. We're bent over. We might not bent over, yes, she was like this, but in our time, we're not saying that we were all bent over physically. We were bent over by the things that have been happening to us. The things that have been happening to us in our marriages, if it's existing, the things that are happening to us with our children, the losses that are happening to us, maybe the loss of a loved one, the vacuum in our lives, or the addictions that we have been getting involved in, or the spiritual weaknesses that we have been going back and forth with the Lord. Today we wake up with God, tomorrow we straighten up with God. We have just been battered, bent over by burdens, or it could be financial burdens. It could be that the way you have planned out your life when you were much younger, you just can't understand why things don't seem to be going straight. You have thought that by this age you'd be married, or even when you're married, you still be with your home. You never thought that your actions could result to you, being a single mother. So like that woman, you're bent over by one thing or the other. It could be physically, emotionally, like I've stated. And we can relate with being bent over. I can relate with that. Being bent over by situations that you cannot control, or situations that you created for yourself, and you don't know how to undo them. It's very easy for us to create something, but it's very difficult for us to undo what we've created. We can create habits. We can create excuses. We can make excuses. We can get into relationships, and I'm not saying sexual, I'm talking about good relationships with girlfriends and all that. But we don't know how to pull out of those relationships anymore. Like this woman in the Bible, we are bent over. It could be by traumas, regrets, childhood trauma. Oh my God, I had childhood trauma for so long. You see, I'm a counselor, but you see those medications, off mic, those medications, they don't do anything to you. If God does not fix you, you can't be fixed. Yes. That is the truth. I had childhood trauma. I was abused by my uncle and his wife. not sexual abuse, domestic, emotional, psychological. My God, they reduced me to nothing. And I wasn't up to 6. The things I do, a 30-year-old woman cannot do them. There is an underage child. It's a normal thing in Africa. Maybe in Canada, it looks like, why are you saying this? In Africa, it's a normal thing. My mom was a single mother. So I always have this strong bond for single mothers because I was raised by a single mother. The best, actually. Please put your hands together for every single mother. It takes a lot. And so I know what it means to be a single mother. My mom, I saw her break her back just for my elder sister and I. And I do not play with single mothers at all. And so I had that trauma from my uncle and his wife. They abused me. I was eating leftover meals. I was, sometimes I sleep in the toilet. I'm not telling you film, I'm telling you this woman. And I went with those scars into marriage. And just so I know we're wondering, it's just one man in this house. Please celebrate my husband. God bless you, sir. He goes everywhere with me for the years we've been married, many years, everywhere. He takes leave, or off. He takes one leave in a year just because of ministry so that he can fit in. God bless you, sir. So I took this pains, this crippled situation to marriage with him. In the early years, I frustrated his life. You know why? I was unhealed. And that's what happens to you when you're not healed. You carry the baggages, you carry the problems, you get into marriage and you frustrate someone's son. Please, I want you to say, nobody will frustrate my son. Please say it now, say nobody will frustrate my son. So I took those things to the marriage and I was frustrating his life. And because my husband heard clearly, this is your wife, he began praying for my healing, even when I didn't know I had problems. And you're going to see it in that book. That book is very honest. He began praying for me. He knew that I was coming from the past. And so what happens to these situations that bends us is we keep living in the past. We keep living in the circle of those afflictions. We keep living in the circle of those mistakes, those burdens, those traumas. We don't get healed. Psychoanalysis or whatever does not heal you. I am saying it. It's really not my profession. It doesn't do anything to you. Alright, so broken homes, broken marriages will be wounded for so long that the wounds, does anybody have any scar? I want to show you what wounds does. Most of us think that, even physical wounds, when we have wounds, we just say, oh, it's healed. No, some wounds don't just heal. Internally, they are not healed. Yeah. And how much more emotional wounds? Emotional wounds don't heal because you took medications. Emotional wounds don't heal because a counselor or a physiotherapist, or what do they call them? Psychiatrist, whatever that they're called, because they told you have been healed. Breathe in, breathe out, stretch, do yoga. No. It doesn't do any. Nothing. The wounds need to be tended to so that they can be healed. Any wound that is not tended to cannot be healed. That is what happens to emotional wounds. And when I'm talking about emotional wounds, I'm not just talking about you were broken, you were battered, even spiritual wounds. Some have been hurt by the church, and they said, I'm not going back to the church. Or hurt by the mosque, and you said, I'm not going back to the mosque. These wounds don't just get healed because someone told you that you're okay. So we see death, which reflects the mistakes we've made through the years. I'm sure when this woman was seated in that program that day with Jesus, she could see death all over. And she knew that these were the mistakes I made. Maybe when I was much younger, I messed up. I did a lot of smoking and drinking. I took decisions that are affecting me right now. We see trash. I wrote down this and I said, we see trash here. And it reflects the pains that have been inflicted on us by others or by our choices. We see the brokenness. We see the emptiness. We see the regrets. We see the strong emotions. And these things are crippling us. We see the had I known. And it's a popular phrase in Africa, had I known. I don't know if we use it here in Canada. Had I known. Had I known means, I wish I had known earlier. I wish I didn't do this. I wish I didn't do that. Or I wish I had done it better. How many of us have been like that? I wish I'd done it better. I wish I'd said something to that person better. I wish I had responded better. Good. So we are crippled by confusion, crippled by shame, crippled by inaction, crippled by indiscipline, crippled by thoughts that we would have just, taken off, crippled by insecurity, inferiority, crippled by all forms of broken dreams, broken marriages, broken relationships. And we are bent over, maybe because of our skin color. We are bent over, maybe because of our faith. We are bent over, maybe because of the things we do not have. We're just bent over because of our status. And most of us have the weight of the world on our shoulders. We just have the weight of different things. The weight of your career on your shoulder. The weight of your colleagues on your shoulder. The weight of your businesses on your shoulder. You just have everything on your shoulder. And that's what infirmity is. Infirmity means something that you have that has not been healed, that has not been cured. Something that is beyond one day. Something that has lasted. Do you know what loss does? Loss is very terrible. You can even tell yourself, I'll be healed. I'm healed of loss. Anybody ever experienced loss? Oh, great. God is going to be healing us of losses today. The Lord just dropped it in my spirit. I lost a woman I ever loved so much. And that was my friend. And I love her so much that I asked my elder brother, my cousin, to marry her. Yes. And my cousin married her. And she died 2014. April 2nd. You can imagine that I'm still remembering the dates. Yes, she died while giving birth to her third child. And I kept on telling myself, okay, I've been healed, but for me to remember the exact dates, it means that it hurts. When you experience loss, it's not something you just walk over. It doesn't just go. It stays deep in you. But I'm going to tell you, like this woman, I was bent over by that hurt. You might say she's not your mother, she's not your biological sister, but that girl was worth more than my biological sister to me. A stranger that you love so dearly, and for so many years, I was bent over by that loss. My husband could tell you, I could say it in my marriage like 1,000,000 times. And you think it's my biological sister that died. So we see these things walking around in the dark. In our marriages, we see it walking around in raising our kids. We see this space walking around in our finances. We see this space walking around when we try to grow spiritually. They just keep drawing us back. But what happened? One day Jesus was in the synagogue. Like Jesus is in this program today. And the woman was there. She didn't say, oh, I cannot walk down to that place because I'm bent over. Do you know what it means to be bent over? It means you can't even stand straight. And she said, no. She didn't say, no, I can't go to that place. I'm bent over. I can't walk down there. What happened? She went, just like you were invited, and you came to this program. And she sat there. Jesus knew that seated in that place where people with different situations, people with different problems, people with different yokes, people with different problems. As our faces differ, so the things that are in our lives differ. Everyone, we all have scars. We all have things that we wish would disappear. Things that we wish would work out differently. You look at yourself and you're like, why am I not married? Why am I not with a husband? Why am I not this? Why am I not that? And like Jesus, we've come here today with our traumas, our fears, our insecurities, our inferiority complexes, our mistakes and everything. But you know what the devil tries to do to you? He tries to say that you're not going to share that thing. Because you're going to get into the detoxification session. And that session is the session of opening the wounds so that healing can take place. For those of us who are in the medical sector, I'm not a nurse, but you know that you have to open the wound right, and then you treat it, and then you can cover it. That is what we're about to do. That woman was there. She didn't go there to hide. She came to that meeting so that she can share the pain, so that she can share the trauma, so that she can share the shame, and so that healing can take place. As we share these wounds today, the unforgiveness, talk about unforgiveness, talk about bitterness, talk about hurt, talk about resentment, talk about our ignorances. We're going to share them. Those stories that we have told ourselves, I can never share this. As a counselor, I tell you, what you don't share, you will never be healed from.
Yes.
No matter who attends to you, you just keep wasting your money. What you don't share, especially in a place where the King of Kings can minister healing to you, what you don't share, you will never be healed from. And I tell people, you've tried everything else. Try God. You've gone to all forms of therapy. You've done all forms of, I want to get spiritually strong. I want to be this. I want to be that. Try God. You've taken all forms of medication. I am not telling you, I'm giving you a blank check. And I'm saying try God. I've worked with God in ministry 20 years. And I'm telling you, there are testimonies upon testimonies. She's been a photographer. She can tell you, I know she'll take a picture of me. She can tell you lots of testimonies that have been coming out of it. I'm telling you, you will see what God will do. But those things that you are hiding, He wants you to open them up so that He can get in. We're going to be sitting in a round, and after this session, I'm going to lead us through prayer, and I'm going to make us receive the healing of the Lord before the next speaker comes. So we're going to sit in the round, and we're going to share whatever it is. Without mic, nobody's recording this session we're about to get into. It's not recorded. We only take pictures, and pictures has no title to it. Just